Imagine a world where your own body becomes the factory for its survival. Every 17 minutes, someone is added to the national transplant waiting list, a ticking clock that too often ends in silence. But what if I told you that the rarest commodity on Earth is no longer gold or oil, but a healthy kidney, and that we have finally cracked the code to manufacture it on demand? We are no longer whispering about the theoretical possibilities of bioprinting. Engineers have developed sophisticated, high-precision bioprinters capable of layering living cells with the architectural complexity of a natural organ. This isn't just about shaping synthetic polymers, it is about orchestrating the precise geometry of vascular networks and nephrons to sustain human life. Research shows that the primary obstacle to a successful transplant, the agonizing wait for a compatible donor and the subsequent war against immune rejection, could soon be relegated to the history books. Data suggests that this approach could eliminate the need for lifelong immunosuppressant drugs, fundamentally altering the prognosis for millions living with chronic kidney disease. The tension here is palpable. We aren't just printing shapes, we are cultivating living, breathing, functional tissue that must integrate seamlessly with the host. You might wonder, how do we ensure these lab-grown scaffolds can actually process blood, filter toxins, and maintain homeostasis under the crushing pressure of human physiology? In this video, we will dismantle the complex science behind this breakthrough. We are standing at the edge of a medical revolution that promises to transform the organ shortage from a terminal crisis into a manageable manufacturing challenge. The era of waiting for a miracle is over. Let's look at exactly how we got here. The genesis of this revolution did not begin in a sterile laboratory, but on the factory floor. Engineers saw only geometric shapes, they saw the rapid iteration of car parts and architectural models. They were building skeletons of innovation, unaware that the technology was destined to transcend the mechanical and embrace the biological. Scientists had to move beyond the precision of polymers and master the volatility of life. It took years of agonizing trial and error to bridge the gap between additive manufacturing and biofabrication. The challenge wasn't merely the architecture, it was the biology. How do you convince thousands of individual units to fuse into a functional, breathing structure rather than a chaotic pile of debris? The breakthrough arrived when researchers swapped plastic filaments for bioinks, complex hydrogels infused with living cells. This wasn't just printing, it was orchestrating a cellular dance. Scientists spent years calibrating the shear stress, the nutrient density, and the oxygen permeability required to sustain life outside the body. We refined the software to map the intricate vascular networks that feed a human kidney, turning digital blueprints into biological reality. We learned to print the very vessels that supply blood, solving the biggest hurdle in tissue engineering, perfusion. But by integrating microchannels directly into the design, we finally gave these structures a pulse. We have moved from the era of plastic shells to the dawn of organic replication. But creating the structure is only half the battle. How does the body react to an object it didn't grow itself? To grasp how a solid organ emerges from digital code, we must look at the ink itself. This isn't plastic or resin, it is a living slurry, a bioink composed of a patient's own stem cells suspended in a nutrient-rich hydrogel. The process begins with a scaffold, a biocompatible mesh that acts as a temporary architectural frame. Within the printer's chamber, high-precision nozzles, measuring mere microns in diameter, lay down these cells with surgical exactitude. Layer by layer, the printer maps out the complex topology of the kidney. But the true engineering marvel isn't the solid mass, it is the void. These are the future blood vessels. Without this vascular blueprint, the inner layers of the organ would starve, turning the transplant into a necrotic shell within hours. It is a feat of spatial choreography, balancing the mechanical rigidity needed to hold a shape with the delicate fluidity required for cellular migration and growth. Once the printing is complete, the organ enters a bioreactor. The stem cells begin to communicate, signaling to one another to differentiate into the specialized tissues required for filtration. They recognize the scaffold not as a foreign invader, but as a temporary foundation to be replaced by their own natural collagen. The structure is now a living, breathing metabolic engine, pulsing with the potential to filter toxins and regulate blood pressure. Yet, even with this biological harmony, the final hurdle remains. The clock is ticking, and the transplant is already underway. The silence in the operating theater is heavy, thick with the weight of a decade's worth of labor. The perfusion is steady. For the first time in history, we aren't just replacing a failing organ, we are correcting a biological error with a perfect, tailored match. For the millions tethered to dialysis machines or trapped in the shadow of donor scarcity, the implications are seismic. When an organ is printed from your own genetic blueprint, it is not a foreign invader. Consider the implications: no more toxic cocktails of immunosuppressants. The patient is no longer a prisoner to anti-rejection medication, liberated from the chronic fatigue, the secondary infections, and the fragile existence that defines the transplant experience today. This breakthrough is not merely a technical triumph, it is a fundamental shift in the human narrative. We are transitioning from a model of scarcity to one of abundance, where a patient's unique physiology dictates the design of their cure. Yet, as this new kidney begins its work, we must look beyond the immediate success. We are standing on the precipice of a future where heart failure, liver disease, and degenerative tissue loss are no longer death sentences, but manageable engineering challenges. The horizon of medicine has shifted beneath our feet. If this vision of a world without organ failure resonates with you, join the conversation below. Subscribe for more deep dives into the technologies that are quietly, but irrevocably, changing what it means to be alive. Will you be part of the change?